Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today's video I'm going to go over my FPL Game Week 1 updated draft. Currently this is the team that I'm looking to start with for this first game of the FPL season. So let's start off with goalkeeper. I have gone with David Raya. Reasoning for this, I want to try to get my entry point into the Arsenal defence. They've got a great start to the season with Wolves at home, and David Raya at 5.5 million is the cheapest way to get into that Arsenal defence outside of Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White and Calafiori. So for me, goalkeeper, David Raya, strong opportunity for bonus points, saves and a clean sheet potential for Arsenal for this first game. So David Raya is my goalkeeper. Now moving on to defenders. For this one, I've gone pretty much more of a budget style here. I've gone with Ezri Konsa at Aston Villa at 4.5 million, a solid contributor for the team. Look for him to be that starting centre-back again for Aston Villa. They're away to West Ham, so not the easiest tie to start, but I believe Aston Villa have the opportunity to win that game and some potential points for Konsa. Next up is Dan Burn at Newcastle. So for this reason, I've gone with Dan Burn. He's more likely to start than any of the other centre-backs that they have. Right now, Fabian Schär is injured. They have Lloyd Kelly, who they've just signed from Bournemouth, so I look for him to partner Lloyd Kelly in that central defence for Newcastle, at least for the first couple games, until Schär comes back, and then eventually Botman. And also at 4.5 million, not a ton of investment. A good tie to start as well. They have Southampton at home, so Newcastle's Dan Burn as my second defender. And then lastly, Pedro Porro, really good contributor last season for Tottenham. One of the first names on the team sheet in regards to them, and then potential for assist there. 5.5 million again, not a lot spent on the defence, but I want to make sure I get at least a semi-premium option in defence. They're away to Leicester to start, so a good tie for them for the newly promoted team. So Pedro Porro will finish off my defensive line for that position. Moving on to our midfielders. So I've gone with 5 midfielders here. I'm going with a 3-5-2 formation. So to start, we're going to go with Eze, popular pick right now. Should be a key player again for Crystal Palace. I believe he should play against Brentford. I know he was in the Euros, but he didn't play a ton of minutes, so I think he should start for them. They're away to Brentford to start, so a good tie, 7 million price point. Potential for assists, goals here, potential penalty taker. So look for Eze to be a great pickup for your team, and he will be in my team to start. Then I'm going with the cheaper option for Chelsea instead of Cole Palmer. I'm going with Nkunku at home to Man City, 6.5 million. Really has done a great job in the pre-season tour. Should be quite a key player for Chelsea, whether that's playing in a forward position or behind the striker or on the wings. Nkunku, who was injured last year, looks good to go for this year and should be a big contributor for Chelsea, and Maresca for Chelsea. Then my captain right now is going to be Salah. So I'm going with Salah, 12.5 million, away to Ipswich. I, like many people, want to get Salah off my team. Should be a pretty popular pick amongst managers. Great tie to start. Look for him to really get off running for Liverpool this season, and be a main contributor again, goals, assists, and whatever that is in regards to his contributions. And I will put him as my captain, looking for those extra points against Ipswich. Now Garnacho. Really big on Garnacho, and I think for me, I want to get Manchester United into my team. Outside of Bruno, Garnacho for me is probably the next best option. He's a critical player on that wing for them. As you saw, scored a goal in the Community Shield. Should again be a big player for Manchester United for them. Has the chance for goals and assists, and really to be involved in a lot of their attacking play this season. So for me, a great pickup in Garnacho. At home to Fulham, so could be a tricky tie, but I think this new Man United are going to come out trying to really make a statement in this first game, and I look for Garnacho to be involved in that. Now Gw1, maybe a shock to some people. I want to make sure I get somebody in who has some good fixtures. They've got Bournemouth to start. Gw1, big player for them last year, again should be a key player for Nuno and the Forest team. Not a big price point as well, so for me, I want to make sure I have him in the team as another midfield option not just for this game week, but for game weeks coming up in the future. So Morgan, Gibbs-White and Nottingham Forest. Moving on to the striker position forwards, pretty self-explanatory here. Erling Haaland, want to make sure I get him in there. I know the price point is high, but Haaland, big contributor in fantasy, big contributor for Man City, will score goals, and I don't want to miss out on those potential points. So tough game to start against Chelsea away, but he's shown he can score against them. And doesn't really matter for Man City where they play, they're always going to have a big impact on those games. So Erling Haaland, 15 million, we're going to go with him. And then probably the most popular pick at forward, I can see why. Great talent, great player. Isak at Newcastle, Southampton at home. So look for him to really have a good first game. He's my vice captain. I've also mulled over potentially putting him as my captain, but I've gone with Salah. But I don't think you're going to go wrong with Isak in your team, especially at that price point as well. It's really good for a forward. So Alexander Isak as my second forward. Now the bench, moving on to that. Again, really kind of budget picks here. Ward in goal for Leicester. Really just going to be a rotation when I need it with David, which is going to be pretty rare. But I want to make sure I get a low priced goalie so I can use that money towards other positions. João Pedro, I know he's been injured for most of the preseason, but he did come back in the last preseason game and score an absolute blinder for Brighton. And I think under this new manager, he will be a focal point. Should be good to go. Played 45 minutes, so should be good to go against Everton away. So it's a good option for future games to have João Pedro rotate from any midfielders that I need. And then Wout Faes, very consistent player for Leicester, will start for them. Big contributor last season in the Championship. Probably not going to start him this week with Tottenham coming into town. But I think a good rotation player in that defensive position. And that's the same with Hardwood Bellis as well. A very popular pick, only 4 million. Southampton, had a great time with them last season and now permanently with the Saints for this upcoming season. Good rotation player again, not going to start him against Newcastle, that's a tough game away, but for future games definitely an option for me and to put him into a future team. So that is my game week 1 draft currently. I may tinker around depending on what's going on between now and Friday, first game, Manchester United versus Fulham. But as of right now, this is the team. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Please go ahead and subscribe and like, follow my socials, and don't forget to join my fantasy league. The code is on the screen right now. Please go ahead and join that so you can battle against me for this upcoming season. Let me know in the comments if you have any players that you're looking to get in, what players you would take out of this one. I look forward to hearing you, and I'll see you for the next video.